Oh. Sup? I never hide my love for my Raiders. Raiders! Woo! Let's go! It's that time again for the best damn opening in Facebook and YouTube Live history. You know it's true because it came out of my face. Enough of all of these other casters boring you to death with stupid things you already know. Often imitated, never duplicated. That fool with no hair that shouts like Ric Flair. Woo! The R8RBEAR! R8RBEAR! All right. Just kidding. R8RBEAR! I'm going to lose my voice on the first show back. Don't care. You just have to watch a show where I just talk to you. And that would be terribly boring. But I don't care. I hate when my phone gets messages when I'm trying to do something. All right, that's enough of that. Tradish! R8RBEAR Live. First comment. MVP tonight goes to John the Lion. Leon, always dropping L's, but never taking losses. My guy, John the Lion, Leon, numero uno tonight. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Second place, my silver medal goes to Essay Big Dog. What's up, D? Welcome to the show. Always there for R8RBEAR, for fellow Carnal. Welcome to the show, brother. Third place. Oh no, he caught me without weapons again. Doggone it. Now you know who it is. Some of you. DPC, Mount Rushmore in the house. Legend here amongst R8RBEAR family audience. David Pell Kaliva. I used to always have like a sword or something, and I would hold it in the air as I say his name. It's a true story. And that is it for my YouTubers. Where are my Facebookers? What's up? Welcome to the show. First place, gold medal, numero uno, El Jefe, the best thing in this round today. The reigning, defending champion of the world, Carlos Boykins, holding it down as only Carlos Boykins can do right now, it seems like. Mark Vargas. That was low down and dirty. Don't care. Yeah, Mark loves me and I love him, so you know I can kick him in the balls like that. Second place, my silver medal goes to the G-Man himself, Jim Garrison. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Silver medalist, the G-Man himself. Second place, my guy, Mike. Now, or excuse me, Jim Garrison. Third place, sorry, I saw third place and I said it out loud prematurely. Third place, my bronze medal goes to Mike Can do, Henderson. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. You know what I'm talking about, right? You got to look up the Lakers history. They had a guy named Can Do. That was his nickname. I'm not giving you the rest. You got to go find out. It's a great story. He was amazing. He could do anything with the basketball. Anything. It was incredible. He could handle the ball. He could shoot the three, left or right. He could finish with his left and his right hand. Everything. So, welcome to the show, everyone. This is me back finally. I appreciate you all waiting. And we do have a lot to discuss. And as usual, starting us off, contributing to R8RBEAR family page, Corinna True. Hello, girl. What's up? Always there for R8RBEAR. All right, let me see. Oh, I appreciate that, Jim. It's good to be back. David Fowler, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Anna Diaz Rincon, my first subscriber ever. Mwah. Welcome to the show, love. Joe Big Handsome Holman, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Tony Make a Dip. Aha. My regulars are clearly here when Tony Make a Dip arrives. Yes, we are back in the running with our new coach. I think the Kubiak thing, if it isn't finished, it's going to be. It's just a matter of time. They just had to wait for the Super Bowl to end, and now I think he's gonna get that deal with the Raiders that it's going to be on, and hopefully, we can do some of what we're going to do. I'm going to discuss that with you right now. But there's I'm going to fire a nuclear missile tonight. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to fire a nuclear missile tonight. You guys aren't going to like it because it has some factual behind it. Some of you knowing that there's only so many things that could happen to the Raiders that would really be, like nuclear catastrophic. And we're going to get to that in just a minute. But first, what now for the franchise? Well, first and foremost, you got to get your deal with Kubiak done. They're going to do that. Now, I'm just going to put that to the side only because I know this coach. He comes from the Kubiak bloodline, so to speak. The Kubiaks have always produced great football talent. They've always been great teachers of football, and that's not going to fall that far from the tree. In the instance of like a dad teaching his son, you know what I mean? It's not basketball where you have to have all these kind of skills. It's coaching. You know what I mean? Now, you need to have knowledge, but see, knowledge is something you can learn. It's no different than if you go from high school to college. Well, Kubiak has went to college and done real well, and now he's going to be free, and I think he's going to be ours. In fact, I would even go so far as to say I believe there's a deal already in place. A deal already in place that he already wants, and that also makes me nervous because he could go anywhere. So why did he pick us? I mean, I'm sure that we're glad he did. I'm sure that we're glad this is going to go down. But at the same time, why did he pick us? I think there's something that relates to what I'm going to talk to you about in a minute, but it relates to that. But we'll come back to that. Let me just keep saying hi to everyone real quick, and then we'll go deep in this. Leviathan 13, what's up? Yell Triple T, dig it at me. Oh, come on. You're not just a mouthy guy, are you? Hey, look, I don't mind anyone watching the show, but you got to watch the language in the comments, okay? I got lots of youngsters. Yeah, 5-year deal is what is coming back. I had actually heard 4 initially, but yeah, it looks like it's going to be a 5-year deal. And he's going to have some control, which I was glad to hear they didn't give that to Pete. But with Kubiak being a younger guy, you give him more time to really bring in the roster and do what you want to do. I mean, did you really think we were going to go through like a 4 or 5-year program with Pete Carroll? I mean, there's just no way. He's just too old. You know what I mean? It's not that he couldn't have done it, but you don't want to find out when he's going to start to go downhill and he's in the middle of that contract. You know what I'm saying? Pete V24, what's up? Welcome to the show. Let's see. He officially landed in Vegas an hour ago, so a go on private jet. There you go. Look at Anna always keeping me on my toes. I love that. I'm excited too, Tony. I think this is going to be good for us, especially with it finally capping off with a first-round pick and us being able to get the quarterback we've needed for a long time. This guy does. I'm not going to go as far as saying that this quarterback looks like, oh, he's surefire, we can't miss. I can't go that far, but Fernando Mendoza looks really good. Winning the Heisman Trophy doesn't really, make any difference with that kind of thing. But he's here. He's shown how good he is, and I can only hope that he strikes with us. Lightning strikes, but we will see. Ellis Irving, I'm doing great, brother. Welcome to the show. Appreciate that blessing. Is it true about Crosby? Please say it isn't true. Well, okay, we've already talked about Clint Kubiak. I've kind of put that conversation on the back burner only because I think he's a very good coordinator. But whenever you bring in a guy that's a great coordinator to be a head coach, if he doesn't have the staff and the players on the field to back up his knowledge, it doesn't work. And then suddenly he looks like a bad coach. So we have to kind of wait and see how this soup is going to be made. If you just give me some hot water, put a little beef bouillon in there and stir it up with some green onions, that's not enough. I need some steak and potatoes and carrots and peas and, mushrooms and edamame. Yeah, edamame. Look it up if you've never heard of edamame, okay? It's a superfood. It's good for you. That's why I look good at this age. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Corinna. I didn't really answer your question. I'm going to go ahead and answer it. And this is the only way I can, okay? I'm going to be completely bluntly honest with you. I can't be an honest show host and say, yep, that's what's going to happen, unless I really have knowledge, and I don't have that yet. I've been talking. I've been reaching out. I'm listening. I know people, and I'm trying to find out what's going on. But I'll be honest with you. What I've gotten back, for the most part, from everyone I've spoken to, is that Tom Brady's not afraid to deal Max Crosby. He's not. And more importantly, I want to be clear, I don't know if I'm against the decision. And as crazy as that sounds, wait, stop throwing things at me. It's only hitting your phone and your computer. Stop throwing things at me. I'm not saying I don't want to keep Max. That is not what I'm saying by any extent. The man's amazing. He's the best in the league, in my opinion. There are a lot of good defensive ends, but as consistent as he is on play for play, energy level, I think Max Crosby is number one. Okay, I mean that seriously. I did not blink. Now, here's the problem, though. You're in what they're saying is going to be a major overhaul rebuild. They didn't just say rebuild. They said overhaul rebuild. Now, I've been around and watching and, kind of, so to speak, analyzing NFL football for 30 plus years. And I'm telling you right now, that language, using the word rebuild, is common. Okay. Usually what a rebuild is, and I know a lot of you already know this, I'll be quick. A rebuild just usually means you're going to keep the core of your best players and then get rid of guys that are, hanger-ons and guys you took a chance on and guys you traded for that didn't pan out. You just get rid of all those guys that have gotten too old, etc. And then you try to bring in new guys, fresh people. You try to go deep into the draft, find a few guys, and do your rebuild. When you say overhaul, you're saying absolutely everybody is on the block as a possible move. So if that's the case, let's just use logic, okay? Not our hearts. I know we all love Max Crosby. I've met his mom and dad. I partied with them. They're fantastic, okay? If you're going to do that, if you're going to say it's an overhaul and that every player's available, how can you not move Max Crosby? You're going to get at least 4 or 5 picks for him, at least. And at least 2 of those picks will probably be first-round picks. Now, not in the same draft. It'll probably be like 2027 and 2029 or something like that. But you still would have just a haul-in of 3rd round, 4th round, 6th round, 7th round. And, you never know what you're going to find in that. 2 first-round picks, 2 third-round picks, a 5th and a 6th. And someone's going to jump. They know how good he is. And before you say, oh, no one would pay that much, remember, Max Crosby is a finishing piece, okay? If the Detroit Lions, as well as they've been playing the last couple seasons, had made a move last year and somehow got Max Crosby, they're probably wearing a Super Bowl ring. You know what I'm saying? If the Patriots had went to this Super Bowl and had Max Crosby, that game maybe is very different. Not saying they'd win. I had already predicted the Seahawks because I didn't like Drake May's inexperience. I don't care what he did in the regular season. This is the Super Bowl. It gets in your head. He's going to be nervous because he's a young guy. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's what's to be expected from a younger guy. Every once in a while, you see a younger guy show up and he can do it all, and he doesn't look phased. He's phased. Trust me. He's nervous. It's just some guys are successful even when they're nervous, and they're nervous about that, getting their career started. That's the case. Now, for those of you who haven't noticed, I just want to talk about this briefly for a second. I took down my muffler. I don't know if you guys remember this, but I took down my muffler and I used it for a really long time because I was a fan of the Oakland A's pitcher, Dave Stewart. And I don't know how many of you remember this, but Dave Stewart was one of the first guys that used to hide his face with his glove like this, and then he would scowl real hard down into the catcher's mask. So if the hitter saw his eyes, he'd be scared because he looks like a gunslinger. You know what I mean? And I just always liked that. So I'm not equating myself with Dave Stewart at all, but that's pretty much why I did that. Ooh, George. Man, George is upset. Who cares about Crosby crying about a rebuild? There's door he hit. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Honey, I mean, I understand you went through some, but that's what Raiders are. Your fans are Raiders players. We all been through some stuff. We're going to keep on being us. If you don't want to be here, then welcome to go. He done his duty. Well, George, I don't think that he's said anything negative. I'm just simply saying to you that the organization might decide that it's just the right decision. In other words, under any other circumstances, you do not trade Max Crosby. This is the one circumstance you do, and we're in it. We have a new coach, and we have a feisty minority in words only, because he's not acting like a minority owner. And Mark Davis isn't acting like he's a minority owner. Just do whatever you want, okay, Tommy? Go ahead and do whatever you want, Tommy. That's how Mark talks to him. Go ahead, Tommy. Anyway, I'm going all over the place, but I took the muffler down because I just decided it was enough, and so here we are. I played with it for long enough. I wanted to do different things differently in 2026, and I'm going to do that. Even the set, the way you see it, it's getting ready to change. I'm going to change the background a little bit. I'm going to change the lighting. I notice everyone's doing fluorescence, which I think is funny, so I'm just going to do it just to mess with people. Because I've said many times online that I hate all the fluorescent lights. All these podcasters are starting to get themselves all purple and green and orange and all this stuff. Man, why is my mustache everywhere? Don't adjust your set. It actually is moving a little bit. Stop that. I'm catching it on my mic, I think. Anyway, he hasn't been saying that, George. It's not Max. What he's saying is he's frustrated because his own agent is probably, catching him up on the speed that he might be gone. He might be gone, regardless of how well he's played, regardless of the fact that he's got an Oakland Raiders tattooed all over his body. It's the business of football, and he would bring in such a haul of players. You could really seriously get maybe 5 to 6 additional players, and of those 6, at least 3 would be premium picks, 1, 2, or 3, as in rounds. First round, second round, third round. At least half the picks we get back for him will be premium picks that will really bring us potential talent in those rounds. And I don't see how, if you're a new coach, you come in and go, you know what, let's keep just that one guy instead of rebuild the whole team. You know what I mean? I know Max is great. I love him. I think that he's one of the best Raiders we've ever had. And I mean, that's a big statement, but it's true. I think he's one of the best Raiders as far as his hustle, his attitude, how he is in public with his personality. He doesn't shame the franchise. He's solid as could be, marries his wife, has kids, and doesn't shy away from the limelight. He doesn't mind you seeing who he is in real life because he doesn't change. It's not an act. You know what I mean? And I can tell you too, his parents are solid. When I met his parents, I was like, okay, he's got to be a cool dude if he's got parents like that. They're really nice, really down to earth. He just finished Hood House in Vegas, and I don't think he wants to go anywhere. But you're right. Who knows? Yeah, Tony. I don't think any of this is going to come from Max's side. I don't think any of it's coming from Max. Now, has he, going back to what George Prieto was saying, though, I think George might have heard Max complaining about the losing. Now, that Max did do. I don't think that leans toward him leaving us, though. He's just saying to the franchise, come on, you're wasting my best years. You know what I mean? And to the player, that means more to him than it could to any of us. You know what I mean? Max doesn't want to play in the league for 5 or 6 years and have it amount to nothing while he's getting all these individual stats, which over the time of your career doesn't age well. As fans, we don't remember those little things. We remember MVPs and championships. That's about it. So if he leads the league in sacks or breaks the sack record or anything like that, no one's going to care. Oh, this is the most sacks he's gotten in a season since he was a rookie. So what? You know what I mean? You're not going to remember that 5 years after he retires. You're just not. We as Raider fans will, but he wants everyone to remember. That's what greatness is. We remember how Joe Montana did as Raider fans. We remember how Bruce Smith did as a defensive end for the Buffalo Bills. We remember how Deion Sanders did for the Niners, the Cowboys, Atlanta Falcons, Washington Redskins, as they were called at the time when they were still being incredibly racist. And George Prieto, I know you'll always be a Raider. You don't have to say that. Lance Sanfilippo, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. George Prieto, I like Mendoza too. I like him a lot. I'm actually really excited about this, regardless of what happens with Max Crosby, because I'm going to be honest with you. I'm on board. I'm on board if he stays, but I'm kind of on board if they make the move. It's not about the players, guys. We can fall in love with the players. That's fine. But, you can't marry them. This analogy sucks, but stay with me. Bear with me. The R8RBEAR. If we let Max go in free agency and we get this haul of players back, you're going to get all these regular picks we're already going to get, plus 5 more and at least 2 that'll go into another, next 2 drafts. That will be valuable players in this rebuild, because you don't rebuild the team in the very first year you go in the draft. Obviously, usually it takes a year or 2. Some people strike lightning. You know what I mean? I felt like when we brought in Brock Bowers, Ashton Genty, our 2 wide receivers, Thornton and Jack Betch. I'm rusty. But those guys, to me, that's a hell of a little nucleus there. Now, those guys I don't think are on any sort of trading block. Those guys are going to be Raiders next year and the year after that. The only reason why Max is kind of out there is because of his value. And his value goes directly into helping the team become great again. And right now we're not great and we're not anywhere near it. In fact, with Pete, we reverted a little bit. Now, we obviously know why at this point. He didn't have control of his coaching staff. He didn't really ultimately have control of his offense. He was telling Chip Kelly, run what I used to run in Seattle, run my offense. It would give him this thing and say, call this. So the players would have been confused all to hell. You're bringing them into the politics of the front office and the coaching staff, which they would not want to be involved in, but unfortunately are forced into. I don't know. Let's see. George said once again, I just heard on the Raider Report that he might be talking to the new coach. Well, yeah. In all honesty, George, I would expect that. 99% of the time when a new head coach is coming on, he also will seek out the best players on the roster to talk to them, ask them directly what are the things that they think, should be worked on around here or changed. Who are players that as Max Crosby? I'm asking you, Max, who are the players on this roster that you would trust to keep on this roster to continue to build and make this a great, organization again? Because I want to start winning now, right now. What do we need to do, Max? You tell me what's going to make Max Crosby happy. If he does that, Max will sit down with him, say, hey, I need a guy opposing on the other side of the line to help me. We need, some help at linebacker, not a lot, and we need to address our secondary. We have to address secondary. We can't stop anyone from passing gas, let alone the ball. And so I feel like Kubiak will hear that out, if for no other reason that he's been a coach in the NFL long enough to know that you can't just come in and be Bill Belichick and go and grumpy everyone to death. That doesn't work anymore. This era, this generation of football, that doesn't work anymore. So that's out. I don't trust anything that Shady Brady does or says. Anna, as usual, you're spot on. But more importantly, not only do we not believe him, but we have to accept that he could say to our face, there is no Max Crosby deal. There is no Max Crosby deal. And then he'll make it. He's not going to care how we feel about it. He's already made big decisions like that are emotional, that hurt, like having your wife leave you for a karate instructor. Hey, look, pun butts in him. I'll stop mentioning it when it stops being funny, and that means it will never stop. I don't care. What the effing hell does Brady know about building a team? For flippin' sakes, him and Davis. Eloquently said, Joe. I couldn't have beeped it out better myself. Honestly, Tom Brady's only ever been a football player. He's never been an executive. He's never been an agent. He's never been a president of operations. Nothing. Never been a defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, quarterback's coach, assistant, ball boy, Gatorade guy, none of it. Woo, put foots in him. But he feels like working with Belichick, seeing the ins and outs of how they did things in New England, will once again more trying to make, the Raiders New England, which is ridiculous. But I do think he's going to take some of the principles that they had, but the rest of it, I think, is just a guy that thinks he's a supermodel that can just sort of talk his way through this stuff. And let's be honest, okay? I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I'm not. There is this aura around him because he won so much, even if he cheated through half of it. But there's this aura around him that he must know everything about football in one way or another. No, I did not. I love your face. And so there's this aura about him that people should listen to him, that he's going to know what he's doing. Would you listen to a guy about what you should do with your career if his wife left him for a karate instructor? Put foots in him. Okay, all right. I won't mention it again. Maybe. Oh. Do you mean like Derek Carr? No, I do not mean like Derek Carr. I don't mean anything like Derek Carr. I don't want that name mentioned again on my show. I know he was a Raider. He put up hell of stats, good-looking kid, represented us well in public, family man, religious, good to his kids. Woo! I got no foots for him. Okay, giving him hugs. But enough already. He had the job for 27 years as the Raiders starting quarterback. You know what he won during that? Spell that for me. Go. Remember, you're the first show I ever saw about the Raiders. I might float around to other stations, but you're the man. I appreciate you, George. Always. You know that, brother. I've said the story about how I've met you 100 times, and I'll say it again. The man saw me on stage making a joke during a raffle about a bottle of tequila that was going to go out to the winner, and he was the winner. And he came back a little while later, and he said, "Hey, Raider Bear, I got you." And he gave me the bottle and a hug, just us boys. Appreciate you, brother. I never forgot that. I never have, never will. Appreciate you. Much love. It's been 10 years. I've told everybody this will not change. I will not be different. Whether I'm making money or not, whether I have 1 million followers or not, I will not change. I'm not going to turn into Mr. Beast. I'm not going to take TV deals and all that nonsense. You watch. I won't. I've already been asked about sponsorship over it. Did I not just shut down a sponsor just the other day? My 5th or 6th in the last year. Well, year and a half with us now being 2026. I'm not interested in interrupting the show so I can tell you guys about Vegemax. Vegemax cuts your Chops up your lemons, your watermelons, woo, grapes, and anything else. Squeeze it into a juice, bam, and you're healthier. Maybe I will do something like that. No, I'm kidding. Bear, I think it's sad if we do trade Max. Well, Gabriel, it's been a marriage, and it's been great. Raider Nation loves him. He loves Raider Nation, and he makes it known. It's been beautiful. And like I said, I partied with his parents, and they're friggin' cool. I mean, they hung out with all of us. They weren't afraid of any Raider fan. Taking pictures, hugging it up, drinking with us, eating with us, dancing. It was dope. And so I like everything about their family. They're really cool. His Max Crosby's other brother is like a supermodel. And he is. He's a good looking kid. And so that family's killing it. You know what I mean? So very impressed. And so I would be very sad if we lost him. But as far as business, Gabriel, it would probably be good business. Because one man is not going to change our franchise. We've just watched him do that since he was a rookie up until now. He can't do it by himself. And so if we build around him, we might get lucky and make these picks be enough. But if we get double those picks because of a deal with him, then you're sure to have way more opportunity to potentially rebuild your team in an overhaul in its entirety. Mama Bear, thank you, lover. Appreciate this. Robert, look, I got Robert Shaw's cup you got for me. All right. Now, the number one priority, though, I can tell you for the Raiders right now, number one is rebuilding the offensive line. And I'll be honest with you, I was excited to hear that. Now, I don't know what that means for Jackson Powers Davis, or Jackson Powers Jackson. I don't know what that means for him. Does that mean they try to move him? You know, because they weren't exactly acting like they loved the guy. And remember, the owner and minority owner got to see the guy and us struggle with where to put him. They saw his struggles with reading and calling out protections. Maybe they feel like he wasn't a good pick, and they're not getting the value out of the pick out of that offensive lineman. So I'm just saying, when they say overhaul, rebuild, I drew back. I was like, you're going to say all that? An overhaul, rebuild? So something's going to happen. It'll either be Max, JPJ, or both. But they're gonna move people. They're gonna move people. Sad to see Crosby go if he does, but no one is bigger than the Shield, and so long he doesn't go to a division rival. Bob, I would have to think that they would send him to the NFC. If you send him to the NFC, that's fair to me. There's good teams in the NFC. It's not like I'm sending him to a loser. Just pick a decent team in the NFC, reach out to them, see if they're willing to make, a decent offer. And if they are, but you got to get those extra picks. Bear, I remember when me and Chad went to your house and was on your show. So much fun. Best podcast ever. Appreciate you, brother. All the love in the world. Now, I'm not saying hi to your wife anymore. I'm not doing it. She's been pickling me far too much. Hi, sweetheart. I'm just kidding. Sorta. Gabriel, I'm often right. That's why I have this show. But I appreciate you saying that, though. Yes, Jackson Powers Johnson, Bob Stannard, and Anna Diaz. Get me on everything. JPJ should be a backup. He is injury prone. Well, John, that's kind of why I think they may be leaning on moving him too. What are you really losing? You know what I mean? I know he's an athlete. I know he has all this pedigree and potential. We've had people talk our ears off before he was even a Raider about how great this guy was, highest rated prospect in 10 years and all that stuff. And then, he had his ups and downs with us. And so, see, to me, that does not mean you're guaranteed a job next year or any year if you're having struggle calling out protections when you've got scouts saying you're supposed to be the hottest thing since a egg white omelet with cheese and ham. Now I understand. I'm going to take that quarterback for our first pick, but I'll die on this hill. Our second pick had better be the best defensive end in the country, especially if we keep Max Crosby. it seems to me, Joe, that not only do I agree with you, but I don't understand why more teams don't see this. I just, because you see lots of teams with one dynamic defensive end or defensive tackle, and then everyone else on the defensive line is just sort of, okay or pretty good. You know what I mean? Why wouldn't you want two dominant defensive tackles to just shut down the middle of a line, or two sweet defensive ends that on any play are going to have the quarterback looking to his left and to his right about where he needs to, keep from getting hit, as opposed to looking downfield at his receivers. Even if it's just pressures, it will do that to quarterbacks if you're getting there consistently, play after play after play, and then eventually do get in there. But it just doesn't seem like it's a priority for a lot of teams. We haven't really, because I think you would agree, Joe, in the 90s, that was like the thing. You had to have a pair of defensive ends. You had to. You know what I mean? And then come into the 2000s, the 2020s, it just, I don't know. It seems to have fallen down the list of things that the team says, hey, this is number one. We need to, work on this. Okay, now, there's also this, though, Joe. What if they go after the defensive end in free agency? See, I kind of like that, because if you go after it in the best pick, okay, usually best pick at a position will usually work out. And defensive ends don't necessarily have to be picked even in the first round to get ones that are very good. Now, if you want the best, you have to be in the first round, but the Raiders could do that. But it's a catch-22. You would have to give up a defensive end to get a defensive end. Well, do you want to give up the best in the league potentially to try a lottery pick and guess which one of these guys could be your next Max Crosby? And you're banking on getting two, because when you only had one, it wasn't working for you or anyone else as the Raiders or any other team in the NFL. You need two bookends. So with multiple picks from a Max Crosby trade, you have a much greater chance of hitting on those two bookends, or at very minimum, getting one and then getting the other in free agency. I know it doesn't taste good. Everything I'm giving you tastes terrible. Yeah, I don't like it either. But it is what it is. We have the moves we can make, and we've got to make those moves, or we're not really. If you keep Max, I like it. And I don't like it. I like it because I love the guy and he's a great player, and I know he's going to keep bringing us plays. But it's not really a total effort to bring us back to a great team if you're worried about holding on to pieces from the past. Oh, God, I'm trying to talk people into trading Max Crosby. This tastes terrible. I'm sorry, but it makes the most sense for where we are. Brand new head coach. At rock bottom, the roster's at rock bottom. We get a new head coach. He's coming off of a Super Bowl. Okay, so he's hot. The players are going to be like, okay, this guy, he's hot coach. He knows what he's talking about. Let's get out there and really hustle for this guy. You have a chance to really have a reimagining of this team. Look at what happened to the Detroit Lions. They were a laughing stock. Okay, for years and years. Have the only team with 2 seasons where they went an entire season without winning a single game. They did that twice. That's why I never mind being a Raider fan. I don't care how much we lose. We're not the Detroit Lions. Just remember that, and you'll feel better. I know it works for me. But we could have the same type of turnaround the Lions have seen in the last 2 to 3 years if we're willing to suck it up, take that medicine, and move off of everybody. Get as much picks and talent as you can get. And remember that we would be doing that going into this. We already have a young starting running back. We already have a young superstar tight end. We already have 2 potential young wide receivers that just need to get reps under their belt with a consistent quarterback. And we could really see a seriously lethal offense before we even make picks. And I can add Fernando Mendoza to that because no one can stop us. We have the first round pick. So everything I just said and Fernando Mendoza to go with the receivers, the tight end, and Brock Bowers, and Ashton Genty. Now do you see what I'm saying? And you bring in a haul of picks to reinforce those young players. It almost makes too much sense to not do it. I know I'm losing listeners right now. I know you don't want to hear that. But I'm sorry, it's the truth. Look, I speak the truth whether you're going to watch the show or not, okay? Bear, when the season schedule comes out in May, I will find out when the Raiders play at Santa Clara, and we'll get my tickets. You should go. Nice. I like that plan. Devin Lloyd, linebacker from the Jaguars, could be available. Give him the bag. If they don't, franchise tag him. You can see that. We need a defense front line like the Seahawks. Bob, defensive lines win footballs. I didn't say games. They win football. You have whole games where the quarterback does this, offensive line, and the wide receiver does that. The running back gets X amount of yards, and then you find out the defense has 3 sacks, 2 stops in the backfield. The running back only has 35 yards on the day. The defense won that game. I don't care what offensive stats you saw. The defense kept the other opponent's team shut down so you guys could go out there and do what you do. So yeah, I can't argue with that. And I'm with Joe Holman. I think that we should keep Max and then go deep into the draft, get somebody who we can pair with him, and then spend everything else on offensive line talent. Everything. I'd even look just for more linebackers in free agency than look for one in the college ranks, unless we're going to go way down deep into like the 6th and 7th round and just look for someone. I like linebackers every once in a while that you find at small schools that just have just a ton of tackles, a ton of individual tackles, and you can just tell that guy is a friggin' football Wolverine. Now, when you see that, you go get that guy, maybe in the 6th or 7th round. Hey, I may not be the smartest person, but I will always be a Raider fan. Gabriel, I say that all the time. I may not be the smartest person, but I will always be a Raider fan. Appreciate that. Well said. Number 1, I was talking about keeping Crosby. I know. Number 2, is there a good defensive end available in free agency? Because chances are getting 2 of them are pretty damn slim. Exactly, Joe. But it's not slim if Max is a part of a trade and you get all those extra picks. You're going to get a defensive end. You're going to get one by accident with that many picks. It won't even have so much to do with our scouting department. They'll just have enough picks to go, oh, that guy's still on the board. Let's do it. Or use some of those picks to move up in the draft and get a fantastic defensive end. I mean, you could do that this year. Think about it. You get Fernando number 1 overall. You trade Max, you're right back into the first round and high in the first round. Now you maybe could get the best defensive end in college football and still have your second and a couple 3s and a 4-5 and a 6 and really, really rebuild this roster. And starting with 2 studs in your first 2 picks. I could feel people who love Max Crosby really getting mad at me right now. But mad because it's making sense, not because you don't like me. It's because what I'm saying sucks, but I'm sorry, it's accurate. Bob, I don't know where you got that number. The Raiders have $100 million in cap space. I had $92 million. We're not that far off, but $100 million is a lot. I had it at 92. Just coming up to news time, I checked it just before my show, and it said 92. So I'm pretty sure it's 92 million. Now, having said, in fact, it was even less than that. It was 91.5, and they said that with change, it's going to be pretty much 92 million. So there's that. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Sorry, my system was asking me a question there. All right, so let me keep moving here. So with that amount of cap space, you obviously can make quite a few deals. I mean, that's a lot of money. You know what I mean? And there's going to be free agents available. Now, no, I can't name a defensive end off the top of my head, Joe, but there's going to be people available, especially when you consider there's going to be people available that weren't previously available when you have that kind of money and picks that you can put into a package to go get someone's best player. I'll give you an example. TJ Watt. Now, there are those who'll argue with me. He's not big enough. He does put up numbers, but he gets hurt a lot. Blah 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 blah. I'm just throwing a name out there to give you an example. It could be someone that is a premium guy like that. Maybe Trey Hendrickson. He had some not so good feelings with the Bengals and working things out with them wherever he went to next. After that, I think it was the Saints, and then he got another deal. Not sure where he is now. Just don't care. Javelin Phillips D from the Eagles will be a free agent, only 26. There you go. There's one right there. Raider Miguel, I understand the business trading him, but it's going to be hard to replace him, and we also have to hit on those draft picks. Now, Raider Miguel, it may be hard to replace him, but we haven't replaced him now. We haven't got rid of him now in these few years he's been with us, and the team is the same. I would argue it would have been the exact same with him or without him. Now, that doesn't mean he has no impact. I'm just simply saying with so many things around him in a hurricane, Max's ability and his talent and his stats weren't able to affect the game the way they should have. Had we had a better offense, he would be getting called the best defensive end instead of one of the best, because he would have been getting their offense off the field. We come on, put up points. He goes out there, gets their team off the field. We go out there, get points. Had we done that, even if it was like touchdown, field goal, punt, touchdown, field goal, punt, field goal, touchdown, like that, really random, we still would win because he's going out there keeping them from scoring. But we never paired him with another guy. I would say, so what if we trade Max and we don't get another Max in the draft? So what? You get one in free agency. Or if you don't, you just make a good defensive line across the line with 4 guys as best you can, and you improve your linebacker crew or your defensive backs and safeties. And hopefully they can help make up for that loss. Kevin, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Sorry, just checking in now. I thought you got put in real jail. No, bro. I keep the temper under control now. That was the old days. What's up, brother? Hi, honey. So, what is it that they really want to do? Here it is. I have all this. I'm positive on this information I'm giving to you. Okay. They want to overhaul and rebuild the team. Again, I'm stressing overhaul because I want you to understand if Max gets moved, this is why. And I just think that Tom Brady is such an analytics kind of coach, a cerebral coach, where he thinks that his decisions will directly affect winning. Some coaches throughout history and owners have done that. Whether Tom's one of those guys, we'll have to wait and see. But when I say we'll have to wait and see, I'm saying that as it's going to happen. He is going to put his thought process on our organization from the top. Now, I want to be clear. I just don't like the guy. I'm not saying it won't work. There's a chance that it could work. It doesn't look like it will because he's a Ken doll. I won't say it again with a wife that left him for a karate instructor. But if he does at least understand the principles of football, run the ball. We have a running back that was picked up while he was here. So he could have had something to do with the decision to go with Ashton Jeanty that high, because there were those that thought that was a little high for Ashton Jeanty. Not because he's not worth that, but because you could have got him a little bit later in the same round. Okay, that's one. 2, can he really get rid of Max? Will he really pull that trigger? Because he knows it's going to refurb through all of Raider Nation. And I realize he's the owner, but when enough fans are mad about an owner, things still happen, guys. They do. Because it gets to the players get to the coaches get to upstairs, and then things have to be done. Because now it's not working and you're being authoritarian with us, and the fans won't tolerate that. So if he comes in and it's just like, yep, I know what we need to do. We're getting rid of Max for picks. That won't go well unless he really explains it to us and it works out. It's got to work out. You can't make a drastic move like that and it not work out. Look what happened with Khalil Mack and John Gruden. He got rid of Khalil. None of us wanted it to happen, and it didn't work. He got caught in some email nonsense, and now he's gone. And there are those that would say, what would the emails have to do with it? Blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter what the nail, which nail hit which tire. You're going down. Oh, well, where are the nails at? That doesn't matter either. When you catch one, it's going to happen. You're going to pop a tire. You're going to be on the side of the road. And that's what happens if you make this drastic a push all your chips in, put Max Crosby out there in free agency for us to get 6 picks back. I hate picks. You never know what they're going to be. You just don't. Look at the picks we picked up. Jack Besh. I thought Jack Besh was going to. Sorry, I hit my mute there. I thought the wide receiver we bought in Beck, I thought he was going to be a star. I mean, a star. I saw him in college at TCU. Really physical guy, loves to bang guys and then keep running. I mean, like Jeremy Shockey kind of tight end. For those of you who remember Jeremy Shockey, class, step up, knowledge. But for those of you who don't, Jeremy Shockey was an incredibly physical tight end who every time he saw contact coming, he tried to lay the wood down first on guys. He didn't let guys, defensive players, come and blast him. He blasted them right back. And I saw that in Jack Beck, and then Jack Beck, and then I didn't see it at all on the field at all, even when he was given opportunities. Now, granted, it was with, Geno Smith throwing the ball, which we all know how that turned out. But hopefully with Fernando Mendoza and a quarterback that they know they're going to support, that's going to be here more than a year. That was ridiculous. Bear, if only you could hear my potty mouth right now in regards to Shady Brady. I wish I could, Anna. I wish I could, my benefactor of the show. But I got to tell you, sweetheart, I think that he's going to pull the trigger. I really do. I really do. I think that if I was sitting in a room with Mark Davis and Tom, I would be able to convince both of them that moving Max Crosby is the only decision here, because we can't get better completely without really overhauling, I'm using their words, the entire roster. We are not good. What is the point of keeping some of the roster that was a part of the losing? I don't care who it is. The only guy I would keep is Carlson, the kicker. And that's only because he agreed to restructure his contract for the benefit of the roster. Guys do that. That's showing allegiance to the Shield. You keep them around. But, I think they're going to do it. Will the Raiders be aggressive and throw the bank at center Lindenbaum from the Ravens? Well, Bob, I would like to see them do that, and I know it was on ESPN, talked about it a little bit, but I'm going to say yeah, because to me, an overhaul has to involve at least some veteran, experienced, proven talent, and he is that in every category I just mentioned. He's veteran, he's proven, he's a stud. You bring him in, you click him into the position, you're going to get good football. When you can get a guy like that, you go get a guy like that. Now, I know Max is what that is, so I have no problem with them keeping Max. I don't have a problem with it. I just don't think it's the smartest decision. I think you now would have to, if you keep him, now you're back to, can Kubiak, Tom Brady, and whoever else they have in the brain trust, in the war room on the draft, can they really bring in at least 4 of however many picks they get? Okay, I don't care if it's 6, 8, or 12. If they can bring in at least 4 players that can go on either side of the ball, 2 offensive guys, 2 defensive guys, then you can change and impact the game. Change winning or losing to winning like that. Rah. Steven Shaw! And before I forget, I'd like to remind all of you to please like and subscribe this video, because if you like it, it puts me in the algorithm and I can compete with these other suckers at doing Raider shows, Raider football, and football in general. And I would really appreciate it if you subscribe to R8R Bear right there on YouTube. And if you look me up, you'll also find me on Patreon. I am with Facebook still. If you want to support me on Facebook, you can do that. But if you don't want to, you can also do it on Patreon. And I'm kind of trying to drift people over to Patreon because it's a little bit less expensive, and you can still catch your Raider Boy and still help out the show. And I really appreciate it. And Mrs. Shaw. I did. I'm rusty. I forgot for a minute. This is the biggest offseason in Raiders history. This is going to make or break us for at least the next 2 decades. Raider Miguel, I'm not gonna shut you down on that. I agree. I think this could. I would argue this one coming up, 2026, 2027, because then you have to support whatever you did in 2026. I would say these next 2 seasons are going to show us if we're going to continue to climb toward a playoff berth and then getting in there and doing something by maybe mid-year of our second season. So this year, next year, mid-year next year, you start to make trades for available veteran pieces that can take us over the top. I want that. I want to see that. If we see those kind of moves being made, your organization is saying to you, we have enough, this team can do it. Because they're not going to make free agent moves in year 2 to try to put that extra horsepower in our engine to get us into the playoffs and maybe further, unless they see winning. We have got to start winning. By the way, if you remember correctly, it was 5 years ago before the stadium was even built. And I was talking about the fact that Mark Davis had a deal with Sheldon Adelson, who's a billionaire in Vegas. The NFL wanted the billionaire out because he would have had too much control, and they didn't want a billionaire to have so much control of a team in the NFL because it might encourage gambling, mafia stuff, et cetera, et cetera. The NFL said no. Even if it wasn't coming that way, they didn't like even the appearance of it. So they told Mark Davis to cut Adelson out of the deal. When Adelson got cut out of the deal, he got pissed off, and he started reaching out to everyone that he knew and saying basically, don't loan money to the Raiders. They pissed on my offer. They treated me with disrespect. Don't give any money to the Raiders. And then all the rich benefactors in Vegas said, okay. And no one approached Mark Davis. He didn't know what to do. And then somehow, some way, Bank of America reached out to him. From what I've heard, he didn't reach out to them. They reached out to him and saw his financial downfall and wanted to help him get the team in Vegas. Now, we still owe a ton of money. A ton of money. $1.7 billion. And that's only part of it. Yeah. And right now, the revenue that was supposed to butt up to ticket sales and help the Raiders earn that money and start paying off Bank of America, it's not coming in because it was supposed to be butted up by tickets, and the tickets are selling. Even if it is to a lot of our rivals, they're still selling. So they're still getting the ticket revenues and the parking and all that. Where is the real problem? It's in revenue and rental hotels in Vegas. The rental tax in Vegas, and part of the taxes for all of those hotel rooms was supposed to go into a pot and be given to the Raiders to help pay back the deal with Bank of America, and the money's not there because, as you've seen for the last 6 to 8 months, tourism in Vegas has been, how's that sound go again? Wah, wah, wah. That, which means not so good, like really bad, like terrible, like tanking, like sucks. And so they don't have those revenues coming in to go, here, Mark Davis, go pay your bills. And so Marky's going to have to start paying him. And I know he's made some money with the WNBA Aces, but it ain't that kind of money. I'm just saying, it ain't that guy. He's not going to pay those kind of bills. If he's trying to pay those kind of bills with female basketball money, he's got another thing coming because it ain't going to happen. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anything but that. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. God bless you all for tuning in. I really appreciate it. My first show back. I will be on again tomorrow. That's right. Tomorrow. And yes, Bob, I'm going to say it before you do. There will be some order shows next week, and I will keep you up to date on that. Much love to you all. Please subscribe to Raider Bear Live. I'll see you soon. Raider Bear, Raider Family page. Peace! And as always, shout out to our veterans, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, National Guard, Space Force, for all you do. The energy and love of this show is dedicated to your sacrifice. Active and veteran, much love. I'm not that rusty. I almost didn't say it, but I said it. Much love. I'll see you tomorrow. R8RBEAR.